Welcome to the big show.
He could go all the way. Oh, America, are you serious? It is showtime, baby. Here we go. Slam, jam, slam. It's
for this.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. Move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. Give it up, go.
Welcome to the big show.
Let me say,
Simply
wake up about to say,
breaks a couple of tackles. Headlock, gotta go. Headlock, gotta go. He could go all the way.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Cold War Radio live on our home base, WAAR. We are America Radio, your number one source for streaming political and government talk anywhere. I'm Hutch Bailey Jr., deep down in the bunker in my Smith & Wesson studio in the city of Pittsburgh. Please follow me on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. The Facebook page is facebook.com/Cold War Radio, Cold War with 2 A's. You can follow the show on Blueberry, on YouTube. A lot of people listening on YouTube lately. That's interesting to listen to a radio program on YouTube, but there's like 50 people that listen to it there every evening or whenever they listen to it, and they leave comments and everything. So thank you guys. Cold War Radio is an iHeartRadio program. People listen there. You can get the Cold War Radio app for free in either the Google Play Store or the iTunes Store for your iPhone or Android. The Android has really taken off, over, I think, 125 users. It's only in its first week, so tell your friends about that. That's a good one. People say they like it. The email is scrtv@live.com, and the call-in line 412-567-1460. The chat room is up on Spreaker, the lively chat room. Go to steelcityresistance.blogspot.com if you're listening somewhere else, and you can find the link to that. You can also find the show notes, which you're going to need tonight, because I'm not going to get through all the massive amounts of material I have in there. And if you can, when you're on the website, hit the donate button if you can. Also, the GoFundMe page, gofundme.com/Cold War Radio, which is 1A in the war. is going to shut down. You got about a half a day. I'm going to close it down tomorrow, the day of our new president. And then I'm going to immediately start upgrading the studio, and I'll let you know probably on the GoFundMe page. I'll close it down, but I won't. I have to figure out the details. I'll let you know, though, one way or the other. Ladies and gentlemen, Stacy is on assignment tonight. She is right now on a plane on her way to our nation's capital to cover the inauguration tomorrow. She will be calling in to the Wayne Dupree show tomorrow night. I'm not exactly sure when, but we'll be on for 3 hours from 8 to 11, so you can listen for her there and her report from Washington. I don't know if anybody else saw and I'll have to, let me just say right up front, you can probably hear it in my voice. I have a sore throat. I'm in the middle of a cold. I'm going to do the best I can here. But I have a lot of material that I want to go through, and I don't even know if I'm going to make it out of this. This will be a monologue tonight, out of this monologue segment. But I hope everybody got a chance. The first thing today for me was watching the entire Trump family deplane in the official White House jet. Now, I don't know what the official White House jet is, but it says United States government on it. And to see them come out of there so elegantly, to a person, each person it was just a thrill to me. That's what started it. When I watched that, and I watched the colonel, the Air Force colonel, render a salute to the president-elect, and the president-elect rendered a perfect salute back. I mean, it was just amazing to me. And I don't get emotional. The only thing I really get emotional, there's two things. Actually, there's three that I really get emotional about. One of them is anything involving the United States military. And by that, I mean even the Star-Spangled Banner or anything. That can drop me. And the other thing is the Pittsburgh Steelers, when we start getting toward the end of the season. And the reason for that is not completely based in sports. You would have to understand what it's like being my age and living through the 70s and then watching your city get gutted in the first massive case of wealth redistribution when they redistributed our steel mills overseas, and our city was decimated, and it forced a lot of us to move. And one of the things that we had when we were other places in the country and the world was our Steelers. And they didn't win during the 80s, but they were still there to anchor us, and that's just the way it is. And that's why if you've ever watched any football game ever, no matter where it is that the Steelers are playing, the Steelers have a fan base wherever it is, because we all had to leave. And a lot of people made lives in other places and planted the flag, and that's why that happened. It's not just a love for the Steelers. Those are Pittsburghers when you see them in the stands. A lot of them are. And the other thing is, and this is going to sound weak, but I don't care. I can't stand those commercials where they show abused dogs. I mean, I can't do that. I love my dogs. And when I see that, I just have to turn it off. I can't even watch it. It makes me furious. But enough on that. Let's get back to the program. The ceremonies tonight, it just seemed like, I have to be honest, I never felt like President Obama gave a damn about me. And when I say me, I don't just mean individually me. I mean us, the people in this audience. The average, everyday working guy, the farmer, anybody who's not a communist sympathizer or a Muslim or a black revolutionary. I just never felt that he had my back. And when I saw that family come off that plane, and I watched the Air Force colonel give him a salute, and he saluted back, and then they panned the camera back a little bit, and you saw the airmen lined up at attention. And that was just that was the beginning of the feel goods for me. And then you watch Toby Keith and the amount of people that were on the mall in front of the Lincoln Memorial, and then the family going up into the Lincoln Memorial. It was just, we're in for a great time. I'm telling you, it's not going to all be good though. And that's what I'm going to get into now. I just wanted to cover, Brett Baer said something to whoever he was talking to, Charles Krauthammer or Stephen Hayes. Stephen Hayes, I think it was. And He said, I don't know if this feeling transmits over the airwaves. And I immediately tweeted him back, a little moist in the eyes. You know, not like an Obama supporter, but I was feeling proud. And I tweeted back to him, yeah, buddy, it transmits. You know, so that was pretty good. I can't wait for tomorrow. That being said, the Democrats in the House, ladies and gentlemen, the 68 of them or however many there are, a third of the House Democrats, the ones in safe seats, because the rest of them are cowards, the ones in safe seats are basically opting out of America. And I want to play some clips here. And the first one I'm going to play is a real fast one on Fox and Friends with Newt Gingrich just laying it out. So let's listen to Newt. Let me make sure I got this. Let's listen to Newt and his quick and concise analysis.
The inauguration's not about Republicans. It's not about Donald Trump. The inauguration's about America. Why would you abandon America? If you're a member of Congress, if you work that hard to get to be part of the system.
Yeah, but Newt, they're trying to score political points.
Yeah, but all they're doing is making themselves look small and silly.
So I agree, and I think it's just bad news. It really is. You know, it's the first time since the 1700s that this has happened. One of the miracles of our country has been the peaceful transition of power. It's the only country in the world that has a record that long of doing that. And for these Democrats to do this, they obviously don't give a damn about the country. Not one little bit. Now, I'm going to play a clip now. And this guy is the scum of the earth. His name is Representative Steve Cohen, and he's a Democrat from Tennessee. I'm going to guess, because of how he describes his district, that he's from Memphis. So this is a white guy with a hugely black constituency. This is the guy whose family, I'm sure if you went back in this guy's family lineage, you would find they were involved in lynchings and the KKK and everything else. But I want you to listen to what this man says about our future president. I listen to this, and very rarely do I put a 5-minute clip on this show. But this is going to set up what I'm going to say next. I'm going to talk a little bit about CNN, and then the main point's going to come out. But I want you to listen to Representative Steve Cohen, Democrat, Tennessee.
Congressman Steve Cohen. Congressman, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome, Tamara.
Explain to me why you are taking this stand. Is it because of the tweets about John Lewis from the president-elect, or is it the information that's been revealed as a result of the investigations of Russian interference?
Well, it's those things and more. I mean, this administration has really depressed a lot of people in my district. My district is the largest African-American district in the country. It went about 80% for Hillary Clinton, and my people feel they're not represented in Washington. And so many things are going to change in the area of civil rights, the area of health care, and opportunities for people that need them, who need SNAP payments, who need WIC payments, who need LIHEAP funding. It's going to be disaster. It is the dark ages coming. And by not going, I am giving my constituents the idea that their representative, and I am, on their side, that I am going to stand up to, which I plan to, these changes and speak out against them, the changes in America that we see coming, and give some voice to my representatives by not appearing. It's a grand political event in general, and I would like to be there and watch it. But I'm not going to do it because I don't approve of President Trump, elect President-to-be Trump. He hasn't acted presidential. And until he earns my respect, I will not give it to him. It's not the office, but the man. And the man has been disparaging of John Lewis, of John McCain, of others, of people with disabilities. I had polio as a child. I wear a brace. It's a little tough for me sometimes even to stand, like right now. So to see him make fun of a man who had a birth defect really went to my core. The man is not a good human being, and he is disgracing the office of the presidency. If he reaches out and changes, great. but I don't think this man's going to change. He's had 70 years. It goes back to Woody Guthrie doing a song about old man Trump discriminating in housing in the 70s. This family has not been a family of civil rights. It's been a family of greed. They've tried to fit in every one of the 7 deadly sins except for sloth. They don't have time for sloth.
But to your point, if this is how Donald Trump has lived much of his adult life, this person that you have described, eventually, though, he is going to become, around this time tomorrow, the President of the United States. The GOP controls the House. It controls the Senate. While that may not be the desire of your constituents that you represent, 80% of them supported Hillary Clinton, and the popular vote as well, by millions, went to Hillary Clinton. How does this move the ball forward in accomplishing goals that you might feel beneficial to your constituents and those who supported Hillary Clinton by boycotting?
I think it serves a large role. I think the man is very needy. He's been needy since they dropped him off at the military school since he was 13 years old. He's been needy all his life. And he wants to have the biggest, hugest, bigliest crowd in history. If 65 Democrats boycott his inauguration, he'll get the idea that he's not bigly, he's not loved, and we all don't think he's making America great again. He's making America dark again, and that's wrong.
But his rebuttal to that has been, but I won. And I get it. You have Democrats who say you did not win the popular vote. All of these things that exist. But President Obama yesterday was asked about lawmakers who've chosen to boycott. He did not weigh in on that. He said he would be there, the First Lady would be there, that he remains hopeful that this direction of the country will move forward in a positive way. Is there anything that could be learned from how he is choosing to handle it? Granted, he needs to be there. He is the president. He cannot boycott. But his tone, as far as not to defeat and fighting so that laws and policy to benefit your constituents can be not ignored by this new president.
I'm a great supporter and admirer of President Obama's. We're going to miss his grace. We're going to miss his no drama Obama. But lambs sometimes get slaughtered. This is politics, and politics, in particular in this city, is a tough game. And if you don't fight back, and if you don't stand up, you'll be eaten alive. You've at least got to let the message be known out there of what's going on and get ready for 2020. We've got to have a Democratic inauguration in 2020. We're going to have a lot of damage in 4 years. It can't be 8. And my job is to be here in 2020 to see a Democrat elected president, and to turn this country back toward a loving, caring, tolerant, diverse country with science at the forefront and justice as a guide, and using our gray matter and not our just bellicose bullying.
Congressman, thank you so much for your time. We have a double screen. Donald Trump almost wheels.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, I had to play that. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. I've never heard anybody talk like that. Really, Representative Steve Cohen, find his Twitter and everything. We got to bomb this guy. This guy is horrible. I mean, I'm just stunned. I'll just leave it at that. You know, I wanted to bring it because when I listened to it, I really couldn't believe it. Let's talk about CNN a little bit. CNN is imploding, if you've noticed. Their president, their chief executive, Zucker, came out and said that the credibility rating at CNN has never been better. They ran a story, I think it was Wolf Blitzer, and they were talking about, they were trying to see how Obama could stay on as president. And they were talking about, well, if Trump and Pence both get assassinated, then they were figuring out who was going to be next. And I'm thinking, I cannot believe this. This Democrat seditious company is talking about this on the day before the inauguration. I mean, think about that. They're just doing they're killing themselves. They did something else too, and I can't think what it was right now. But yeah, they run that story. Oh, I know. There's going to be a ball, and I don't know if it's tonight or tomorrow. It's probably tomorrow. But it's called the Deplorable, and it's being held in a building that has something to do with the press, the National Press Club, or some kind of building that the press sponsors or whatever. And CNN got denied credentials. They denied CNN credentials and put a tweet out, and I should have it here, but I don't. But I'll paraphrase. It's like, your reporting was so hideous during the primary and the election that why would we think you would report this fairly? We're going to give credentials to real news organizations like NBC and Fox News, but you're not getting any. And I was like, whoa. And what does Zucker do? He comes out and says, it's pretty dangerous for you to be fighting with a network whose picture is up all over the world, whose feed is up all over the world. I'm thinking, man, CNN, you're wrong. Now, let me get into my serious statement I want to make. Let me lead into it. The Godfather of Soul, ladies and gentlemen, and from the Godfather of War Radio. What I would like to see the Trump administration do, because everybody, Chris Wallace and just everybody is saying that we have to bring a uniting message and all this kind of bullshit that we've done for the last 30 years. It doesn't work. It only goes one way. I would say be nice until 0001 hours after tomorrow. 0001 hours Saturday morning, it's over. Come up and give a nice uniting speech and everything. And then, and I hope somebody's listening from the campaign, from the administration rather. Look back on history. Look how they're treating you right now. Look how the Republican Party treated the Obama administration when they confirmed 7 cabinet picks on the first day. And look at the ridiculous line of questioning that's going on at these confirmation hearings. When they're talking to the EPA chief about, or they're talking to the people that have nothing to do with the weather about global warming. It's just, it's out of control. Talking about stocks and, trying to make these grants. Chuck Schumer is never going to get along with you. Steve Cohen is never going to get along with you. Leave them in the dust. Pretend they're not there. You have the numbers. Now let's buck up. We won. Let's go get our agenda passed. Don't even talk to them. They didn't talk to you for 8 years. If you go in there and you try to compromise with these communists, there's going to be a third party. I'm here to tell you the American people wants results. We want to eliminate global warming from our vocabulary. We want Bo Bergdahl executed. And I'll talk a little bit more about some of that madness in a minute. But my point is, if we look for a uniting message, if we look for the Democrats to get along, they're not going to come peacefully, ladies and gentlemen. They're never going to come peacefully. They've been infiltrated by the enemy. Look at the people that have been released from prison. FALN terrorist. A person on active duty in a combat zone in a war that gave away all our secrets is free. And they're calling the dude a woman. He should get one right in the forehead. Or he should hang. I'm tired of this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm tired of it. I can't go through 4 more years of us getting whipped. We won. Now let's be winners. Let's go in there and let's take charge. The hell with the Democrats. Let them sit in their offices. Who cares? They have no power. If they give us problems with the Supreme Court, well, then let's change the rules. Tired of this. And I'll tell you, it's starting to pick up around the world. Le Pen has moved into the lead in the French race. She's the populist candidate in France for the first round of presidential voting. Now, a couple more things I want to talk about. This is very refreshing. I'm going to play a very short clip from The Hill, if I can find it. Yeah, there it is. Talk about draining the swamp. Listen to this. It's starting to become big news, and it's about time.
Donald Trump is ready to take an axe to government spending. Staffers for the Trump transition team have been meeting with career staff at the White House ahead of Friday's presidential inauguration to outline their plans for shrinking the federal bureaucracy. The Departments of Commerce and Energy would see major reductions in funding, with programs under their jurisdiction either being eliminated or transferred to other agencies. The Departments of Transportation, Justice, and State would see significant cuts and program eliminations. Overall, the blueprint being used by Trump's team would reduce federal spending by $10.5 trillion over 10 years.
Now, here's what to watch for, because I've been through this before. Now is when you're going to see the conservatives come out. Now you're going to see conservatives, so-called conservatives, representatives, and even senators that have big agencies or big activities in their districts, and they're going to tell you why you can't possibly cut anything from the USDA because these jobs, don't even listen to it. They're going away. If you work for the federal government and you're in an agency other than defense or law enforcement, you better start looking for another job or make sure that you're the best in your agency, because fat is getting ready to get trimmed. And the way they'll probably do it is the majority by attrition. But you'll hear the unions. You'll hear AFSCME and all the rest of the government unions coming out and just calling it, they're going to just gut government and every business is going to just take over. And if it's the USDA, they're going to say, farmers are going to just do whatever they want and whatever. Let's welcome Ken. What's going on, Ken?
Hey, Hutch. I tried to call in the Wayne's show last night, and you guys you had a heck of a show last night. We were busy. But I had a question. It hasn't been really publicized very much, but I heard that the D.C. police, everybody's pushing this, body cam thing. But I found something the other day that they're not going to turn their body cams on unless they're doing an arrest. What have you heard, in your research, or had you heard of it at all?
I have. I haven't heard of the D.C. police, but I've heard these different arguments. I'm not a real big fan of the body cams, and I'll tell you why. Because shooting somebody is an ugly situation. And if you have the whole thing in context, then that's one thing. But if you just have 10 seconds of video, right when the officer finally engages the suspect or whatever, and then he fires, I mean, to me, that the brutality of it could really, kind of tell the story that maybe it's not accurate. Does that make any sense?
Well, I mean, I work with a fellow that's a former police officer. My brother-in-law is actually a Pennsylvania state police officer as well, and boy, he can't wait to retire. But they both have their good and their bad about the cameras. As this guy that I work with now, he's been called into court several times to testify, as a witness, because he was the arresting officer. Even though he's no longer a police officer, he still gets subpoenaed into court.
Right.
So, I'm just wondering.
Like I said, I'm not maybe as we go and there's complete coverage of everywhere, I tend to, and I have to say too, I'm not a big fan of militarized police forces. I'm absolutely against that. But but the camera thing, you're automatically putting it against the cop, and I just think that the whole feeling with people that are pushing that is that the cops are all bad, and I think if we need to give anybody a break, it's somebody that we're paying less than $100,000 to be out there risking his life every day, and I think maybe the way to go is the pre-screening before they become a police officer. But this cameras, I'm not a real big fan of it, Ken. I'm just not.
Well, I would completely agree with that, too. I mean, they're a police officer. They're out there to protect and serve. And, now all of a sudden you want to,
Now, that being said,
judgment.
That being said, I know there's a lot of bad cops out there, especially in bigger cities where there's a lot of bribe money. I know that. But anyway, we'll just have to come to a happy medium. Thanks for calling, Ken.
You bet, Hutch.
Big Rich from New York. What's going on, sir?
How you doing, Hutch? I feel better there. That boy's tonight. And I have a friend of mine who's in Washington that's going to watch the inauguration tomorrow. And look how pathetic CNN has gotten. They rented a roof, and they got 3 reporters, the little light set up, to see if they could catch a glimpse of the ball tonight. He had me laughing. He said, they're the only people out there in the roof. That should be embarrassed.
They're going down. It's like the Democrats, Rich. The media is like the Democrats. They don't know what time it is. They still have not figured this out. They think that everything is the way it was, and I mean I'm talking about all of them. You listen to them. The best ones are Fox News, but they're halfway still in the ditch too.
Right.
I mean, everything's different, and CNN will be lucky to survive, in my opinion.
Do you think CNN is barred completely from attending the White House and the conferences?
I don't think so. I mean, it's possible. I'd like to see it happen, but I don't think they're going to go that far.
Another thing, do you see this mayor of mine for New York City tonight rallying with protesters? I don't see anything like that.
I have mayor too.
Oh my God! I never witnessed it myself. First time ever.
No, we have it here too. My mayor, when Donald Trump came here the first time, my mayor got on television, and a word around here in Pittsburgh is jagoff. Like here in Chicago, that's one of the words we use. And he called him a jagoff on TV. And the protesters held signs, and the cops don't play here. I mean, the cops had them cordoned off, and there was only about 100 of them. There was 5,000 of us, but they had signs calling him a jagoff because the mayor did it.
And
it's just sickening.
You had De Niro, all the Hollywood, you know how there's the Broadway stars, everybody there. I just wanted to puke. I just wanted to pack my bags and just leave New York. But I feel the same way about
here. I feel the same way about here.
That was disgusting, man. And
I can't believe I lived here this long.
Oh my God, this guy today showed his communism out of him. He took me back to a bad place.
I saw that rally. You had Muslims and everything up there representing.
No, and then and then yesterday you got the Speaker of City Council celebrating that they released a Puerto Rican terrorist.
Oh God, I know.
I was so ashamed when I saw her doing that because she don't understand what that.
He murdered some people in a hideous way. He blew a bar up.
Let me tell you something. He had New York City scared to death, but this guy was unvulnerable. They didn't know when he was going to attack.
Right.
And he had New York City locked down. First time ever a person had New York City locked down.
Now, this guy wanted, ladies and gentlemen, if I have a segment that I'm not going to get to because I like doing this better. But if you go in the show notes links, there's really a lot of good links in there to stories, and one of them is about this guy, about Lopez.
He was a rich. And you know what's funny? That he said he didn't have no remorse, and he told him
he called himself an enemy of the United States.
Yes, and he said, if y'all let me out, I will try to do it again, because that's in my blood. He considered United States the number one enemy. He won liberation from the United States, from Puerto Rico, and people, Obama, what he did, he released an animal, a menace to society. That's what Obama did.
He did. Okay? Hey, Rich, thanks for calling, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Feel better.
Yep, I'll try. Richard Torres from New York, ladies and gentlemen. 412-567-1460. Let's continue with what I got here. I want to just talk about the confirmation hearings a little bit. This I can't remember this guy's name. Doggone it, what's his name? Anyway, this senator, the guy that's talking, you can hear it's a Republican versus a Democrat. Roberts is his name. He's trying to inject a little comedy in this, and I want you to hear this. This is hilarious. Let me make sure I got the right one here. There it is. Let's check it out.
And are a public service of your television provider. C-SPAN, created by cable.
And then I just have an observation. I think that to date, Mike, what have you done with my, here it is. Senator Wyden, I've got a Valium pill here that you might want to take before the second round. Just a suggestion, sir.
Just another suggestion. We've got a lot of colleagues waiting. If you could be brief, it would be helpful.
I'm going to be very brief. Mr. Mnuchin, from the distinguished ranking member's remarks, I understand we're in charge of the Great Recession. Banks.
Mr. Chairman, I hope that comment about Valium doesn't set the tone for 2017 in this committee. I like Senator Roberts, but I just can't quite believe that he would say that to a distinguished senator from Oregon.
I said that to the President of the United States at one time.
Perhaps you did, but I would hope that doesn't set the tone for the session.
It was
Mr. Chairman,
all right.
I sit on.
I have the time, please.
Senator Cartel, and the relationship we're building is so different from this.
I have the time,
This
please.
is just outrageous.
Listen,
I don't know about outrageous, but I think just a little pinprick of humor might help this committee from time to time, which I engage in. And I appreciate the gentleman's contribution with regards to the Agriculture Committee.
I know.
And he's a good member of the committee. We work together on the Ethics Committee. So I'm sorry if I have, incurred your wrath, sir. So we'll be all right.
Well, let's turn
to the pass-through things on tax reform.
Mr. Chairman, we have many colleagues waiting.
Fine, Ron. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mnuchin, we would take your statement at this point.
I'm telling you, man. Take no prisoners. Take no quarter. Do what you got to do, guys. Just don't even think of. Don't even recognize them. They're never going to help you. Finally, from Facebook, Richard Rivas. This was during the concert tonight. They had a fireworks display, and the Army band, Pershing's Own, played military music while the fireworks was going on. And Richard Rivas said, "Had me singing." And then Roger Hale came back and said, "I'm enjoying watching the fireworks that he bought from Hillary's campaign at a discounted price, of course." I thought that was funny. Ladies and gentlemen, check out Covering Up Armenian Genocide. I'm going to get to this on another night. It's an in-depth analysis, and it's a really bad deal what happened in Turkey. And I think we're going to be hearing more and more about Turkey as the NATO status comes to the front, which it's going to do inevitably. And Turkey is a member of NATO. I don't think they should be. I think we should dismiss them. Especially after you listen to what they did to the Armenians. And they have a pact with the United States government, each administration, to never bring up the Armenian genocide by the Turks. And it never has. And unless you dig for it, you've never heard of it before. Now, I know some of my audience will know about it. But the average Joe never doesn't even know what it is. And they were really brutal, I'll tell you. That being said, I had a special request from Peter Jacob, who listens to the program. He's a listener from Warsaw, Poland, and he asked me to bring something to the show, which I'll do right now. It's by him and at Sprawweed, Go in the show notes links. You can find it in there. But this is the truth. And this shows a lot about education. I like to, I find it horrendous, the level of ignorance that we have. And I'm not talking about you. But there's a level of ignorance out there that especially people under 40 that has been inflicted on you by our sorry schools. And I'm not the most educated man, but I was lucky very early in my life to not have a whole lot of money and to have relatives that at Christmas time, when everybody else was getting toys, I would get books. So I developed a love for reading that really made the education part not as important. Not blowing my own horn, just telling the story. But this is the truth about German death camps and Polish heroes. You never hear about the Polish heroes. Elie Wiesel warned years ago to forget a Holocaust is to kill twice. And this is from Truth Be Told. Misleading memory codes. Most probably you haven't heard this story before, even if you are interested in history. Now, I will say that this is written by somebody that English is not their first language, so bear with me. This episode might be just another one in the brutal history of the 20th century. The story begins in 1918, when after 120 years of being under foreign partition, Polish country gets back to existence in geographical and political sense, and for the next 20 years, it starts to develop, flourish, and rebuild itself. The streets are full of both the rich and the poor, people of various religions and cultures. On September 1st, 1939, Germany attacks Poland. Poles try to defend themselves as much as they can, but eventually they lose the battle. The brutal occupation of Polish territory begins. As if that weren't enough, the Russians, having made a secret agreement with Germany, start to occupy the western frontier. Both occupants terrorize the country. An underground resistance movement is set up. Millions of young people fight for their country and lose their lives. Underground press develops quite well, and the government was forced to flee to London. Germans are especially cruel toward the Jewish part of society. Their aim is to exterminate all the Jews. That is why, on the territory of Poland, the Nazis build death camps. People of more than 20 nationalities are transported in shabby carriages straight to the death camps, where they are killed in vicious ways, for example, by gassing in special chambers. Now, the first chambers, ladies and gentlemen, were not Zyklon B immediate death chambers. They were garages or buildings with a truck backed up to them, a diesel truck backed up to them, hooked to the exhaust, and then put in the building. And, of course, locked in. Polish country, lacking any authorities or elites who were mass murdered and being non-existent on the world map, tries to organize itself as an underground structure and fight back the occupants. The occupants, in turn, become even more cruel towards civil people. They introduce inhumane laws, and they don't hesitate to murder millions. The level of terror was unbelievable. Try to imagine that for helping a Jew, even giving a glass of water, you would be immediately sentenced to death. In spite of all this cruelty, Poles managed to stay courageous and honorable. From all of the awardees of the righteous among the nations of the world, an award given by the Israelis who helped rescue Jews during the war, for those who helped rescue Jews during the war, Poles constitute the biggest group. The number is bigger than 25%. We also have to remember those who paid the biggest price for rescuing another human being. The world needs to know the extreme bravery of people like Irina Sendler or the Ulm family or thousands of other heroes of the Age of Darkness. Talk about them, share their stories about them, do it for yourselves and for your future. And it says, please follow our profiles, Righteous PL, and it gave the hashtag that I gave earlier. And Zamor, go to the web, go to the show notes. I can't, there's too many letters. On the territory of occupied Poland, the Germans built numerous death camps. Their victims included people from more than 20 nationalities. The biggest groups were the Jews and the Poles. Now let's just listen to a quick clip on this. If I can find it. Where are we at here? Here we are.
On the territory of occupied Poland, the Germans built numerous death camps. Their victims included people of more than 20 nationalities. The biggest group were the Jews and the Poles. When saying Polish death camps, when talking about this painful part of history, you are making a terrible mistake. These camps were never Polish, and they weren't built by Poles. Polish government of that time was forced to immigrate, and they strongly despised the deeds of Germans that occupied the country. By not sticking to the truth, you act like a negativist. That is those who say that the war and the Holocaust never happened. Please, do not make this mistake. If you were not aware of this fact, please remember, do not, I repeat, do not confuse the victim with the execution.
There you go, Peter. I hope you enjoyed that. Just a terrible time in history for sure. But you never hear that much about the Polish. They bore the brunt of a lot of that. Now let's talk real quickly. 412-567-1460. But there's a conference going on right now, a globalist conference in the Swiss Alps called Davos. And these people don't know whether to cry, panic, or laugh about Donald J. Trump coming in. I would think they would probably cry. They're over there, and there's just a plethora of them, and they're all about global warming and TPP and everything else, and they're just, they don't know what to do over there. It's a closed-door session at the World Economic Forum. One of the panelists asked if the self-styled global elite in the audience a question. He asked, how many of you think Donald Trump won't even finish one term in the White House? About half of the hands shot up. That's a whole lot of wishful thinking about Trump here, deadpanned Moses Naim, the former editor of Foreign Policy magazine, who posed the question. So that's not going to happen. But let's welcome Hickory from Florida. Good evening, Hickory.
You know, Hutch, the Poles have saved Europe many times from invasions. And, you know, you take a look at the last ones that threatened Europe were the Muslims, and they're back at it again. I think the Poles are going to be leading Europe again, and you can't look to the Germans because they've already been allied with the Turks and the Hungarians, and you know the same people that started World War I, you know, in Serbia.
Yeah, but, Archduke Ferdinand.
Yeah. Yeah, and his wife.
And really, if you bring it up even into the more modern era, you can make a case that, I'm trying to think of his name, the Union leader over there, Lech Walesa, and the Pope brought the Soviet Union down.
Well, yeah, you know, the Pope and Ronald Reagan, they were two blessed by God, and you know, you have to see that for what it is. You know, one was political, one was religious, but the world hated both of them.
Yep.
And when the world hates you, they hate you because of a reason. It's, you know, all that hate comes from different directions, but it's the same hate, same evil, Hutch.
No, I agree, and especially when you pair it with the trillions of dollars that are at stake with the people that are against Trump.
Yeah.
And they're in both
look
parties.
At this. He spent $90 million on an inaugural. I mean, that's what Obama was spending on vacations. What a putz, you know?
Right. He turned $20 million back into the Treasury.
Yeah. You know, because he's got his right mind about him.
And I'll tell you, you're going to hear squealing like pigs at these federal agencies that he's getting ready to gut. Yeah. And I tell you, he's coming in there. I know he's coming in there.
There's going to be a lot of
like
furloughs.
A corporate takeover.
There's going to be a lot of furloughs, man.
I agree, and I think it's necessary. I mean, just the bloat.
Yeah, well, I mean,
everywhere.
If we can't take care of our veterans, we can't give those bastards a retirement.
No, I agree. So what are you cautiously optimistic?
Oh, Mr. Trump is, he's the man now. He's the old man. Whatever he says goes. If he says right now, get up, we get up. If he says jump, we jump. If he says roll, we roll. That's just the way it is, Hutch.
You know, I feel the same way, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't want to sound like a blind follower, because I'm not. But I was not for Trump initially. I thought he was a joke, because this isn't the first time that his name came up.
I've heard you say that.
But when I watched him, and I watched the media is what put me in Trump's camp. When I watched the media lie about him on Fox News repeatedly every night.
Megyn Kelly was, Fox News is the reason why we shut off our TV about 5 years ago. And it's because, we just got tired of being lied to. And that was the beginning for us cutting the cord. And a lot of people are going to have to do that. We may not be the most informed people in the world, but hey, we watched some of the inaugural proceedings and everything, and we really enjoyed it. Live streaming.
Oh yeah, you can watch it all on RSPN.
And had a little bit of trouble here this evening, but we got around it, and we're hoping that they grow. It's all sorts of little things like that. It's the little people here in America that have been ignored because of these absolute celebrity-driven, for want of a better word, cockbites. And
did you see the concert tonight?
I saw some. I saw Toby Keith, and the
important part,
great.
The important part was the crowd.
Everybody I talked to, or we had contact with on the phone or internet and everything, was brought to tears, and for good reason too. Because see, we were something that was different than anything else. Now look here, Hutch. When he was at Lincoln's Memorial and he played the battle hymn of the Republic, we had like 600,000 casualties in the war between the states. And today it's still unhealed. Was all that life lost? And the ones that fought it could bring themselves to be friends again. It's just ridiculous. And then think that 100 times that we've aborted in America.
Oh yeah,
babies, innocent babies in America. That is a Holocaust that beats all Holocausts.
You go across the world, and it's as bad as the worst genocides ever committed. It's horrible.
It's worse because I've said it before. I got in trouble in the '90s for saying it. They could be satanic priests performing abortions.
Yeah, I mean it is evil. There's no question. Just like you said.
Oh yeah, I ran into a little trouble one time, and my lawyer said to me, "If you've ever been to an abortion protest, there's nothing that I can do for you. They will eat you alive." And I said, I funded Priests for Life and National Right to Life, and my local chapter, a National Right to Life. He says, "That's okay." He says, "I fund Greenpeace." He says, and see, he was a good guy because he understood the law, and today he's like the top public defender in Birmingham, Alabama. He's a real good guy, and but had I had anything to do with an abortion protest, they would have ate me as if I was pizza.
Unbelievable. Hey, thanks for calling, Hickory. I'm running out of time.
You've got a great show, Hutch. Thanks, man.
Thank you, sir. All right, Hickory from Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, and it just gives me time to cover one more thing that didn't get covered very well. Everybody heard about the FALN terrorists that got let go, but nobody heard about Obama commuting the life sentences of 4 Mexican cartel leaders. Out of Roma, Texas, 4 family members who ran one of the largest cartel smuggling operations in South Texas had their life in prison sentences commuted and will likely be returning to this border city from where they ran their criminal empire. One of the main destinations that the criminal organizations delivered the drugs to, wait for it, Chicago, Illinois. So I just wonder if the Chicago city government had anything to do with that, or, I mean, you just never know. Of course you know. It's clear what's going on there. It's sickening. I mean, when you add that to Lopez and Bradley Manning, who everybody in the country is calling a woman. It's a guy, man. His name is PF's Private E1 Bradley Manning. Gave away top military secrets as an active duty member of the United States Army while in a combat zone in a war. The President of the United States let him go. Bo Bergdahl will be tomorrow. And then to top it off, probably around 11:30 a.m., Hillary Clinton will get pardoned. I hope not. But I'll tell you what, anything to ruin the day for President Trump. Don't unite. I'm telling you, after midnight, after 12:59 tomorrow, it's time to fight these people. And I mean fight. I don't mean cooperate. I don't mean go across the aisle. They're pariahs. They're communists. And you need to start calling them out. Get a pair. Get a spine, Republicans, or get the hell out of Congress. Tired of it. Had enough. I think you're going to probably agree with me. I'm Hutch Bailey Jr. on Facebook, Berg's Eye View on Twitter. I want to thank everybody in the chat room, everybody that's listening, wherever you're listening, and whenever you're listening. You can call the call-in line, 412-567-1460, after the show's over, and leave a voicemail. And if it's pertinent to the show, I may play it. Used to do that a lot before we went live. But we're live now. Wayne Dupree's show is up next. You won't find it on RSBN, but you will find it on Wayne Dupree's Facebook page and on Spreaker. So there you go. Look for Wayne Dupree. If you look for him, it's going to say the Wayne Dupree show, and then it's going to show RSBN's feed. But look for it. You'll find the Wayne Dupree show channel on YouTube. Thanks for letting me into your life for 1 hour, ladies and gentlemen. Catch you up next at the Wayne Dupree show. God bless.